You're in your room while the countdown echoes from somewhere outside. People shout, laugh, and raise their phones as midnight lands, and fireworks sketch light across the windows. You notice the year change, but nothing in you sparks. Not sadness, not excitement, just a quiet steadiness. Then the doubt arrives. If this is supposed to feel special, why doesn't it? And what does that say about you? New Year's Eve is sold to us as a psychological checkpoint, a collective moment when you are supposed to feel renewed, grateful, motivated, and socially alive. The calendar flips, the crowd cheers, and the culture whispers that your emotions should follow. So when you stay flat, you may label yourself cold, broken, or out of sync, but that conclusion confuses a social script with a mental health verdict. Feelings do not obey dates, and people do not process time in the same way. For many, a quiet reaction is not a lack of humanity, but a different relationship with time, emotion, regulation, and meaning. This video is not here to convince you to party or force a smile at midnight. It is here to map the psychology behind why some people experience New Year as just another night, and why that can be completely normal. To make sense of it, we can look through three lenses. First is time. Some people experience time through shared milestones, while others feel it through private rhythms, personal turning points, and what their body has endured. Second is emotion. Not every nervous system seeks intensity. Some people thrive on peaks and crowds, while others protect stability and recover in quiet. Third is meaning. For some, ritual creates a clean new chapter. For others, meaning is built through small, repeated choices that rarely feel dramatic in the moment. When you combine these lenses, you start to see patterns, not problems. You see that ordinary can be a form of self-knowledge, an adaptation, even a kind of wisdom. From here, we will move through 5 psychological profiles that often live beneath that calm face at midnight. First are the quiet celebrators. They do celebrate, just not in a way that performs celebration. They stay home, rewatch a familiar movie, play the same game that always calms them down, eat something simple, and keep their routine intact. From the outside, it can look like indifference, but psychologically it often signals emotional self-regulation. They know that chasing a forced high can cost them the next day or the next week, so they choose steadiness on purpose. Their nervous system values safety over spectacle. Their joy is warm, not loud. And that matters, because our culture tends to treat intensity as the proof that something is real. But for this group, the real thing is the soft landing. After a year of noise, demands, and overstimulation, choosing a quiet night can be an honest form of care. Celebration, for them, is balance. Next are the time-blurred survivors. These are people whose sense of time has been smeared by survival mode. Work pressure, financial strain, caregiving, chronic stress, or long burnout can push the brain into a constant problem-solving state. When that happens, the mind prioritizes what keeps you functioning today, not what helps you feel symbolic renewal. A date on the calendar does not register as a fresh start when your body is still carrying yesterday's emergency. So New Year arrives, and it lands with a dull thud. Tomorrow, the alarm still rings, the bills still wait, the workload still exists. This is not a moral failure, and it is not a sign that you cannot feel joy. It is often a sign that your capacity is spent. In psychology, we could call it resource depletion. When emotional bandwidth is low, rituals lose their color. The most compassionate response is not to force excitement, but to reduce load and restore safety, because meaning returns when the system can breathe. Then there are the invisible lonely. New Year does not hurt because the day is magical. It hurts because the day is public. It is a spotlight on connection. If you have no invitation, no group chat lighting up, no place to belong for the night, the celebration becomes a mirror that reflects what feels missing. And the mirror gets sharper when social media fills with photos, hugs, champagne, and captions about being surrounded by my people. In that context, treating New Year like a normal day can be a psychological shield. If you expect nothing, you reduce the sting of not being chosen. If you tell yourself it is just another night, you protect yourself from the hope that could turn into humiliation. That strategy is not weakness. It is an attempt to regulate pain with the tools available. The deeper need underneath is not a party, but a form of connection that does not require performance. One honest message, one call, one small place where you do not have to pretend you are fine. Another group is the wounded passers, people carrying a loss that did not wrap up neatly with the year. Maybe it was a job, a sense of stability, a relationship, a loved one, or a version of themselves they miss. When pain is still fresh, celebration can feel almost dishonest, like cheering over a story that is still bleeding. It is not that they resent other people's happiness. It is that their inner world has not reached the part where fireworks make sense. In grief psychology, we learn that closure is not a date. It is a process, and the nervous system cannot be scheduled. So choosing ordinary becomes a form of truth-telling. It is a refusal to fake a clean ending just because the culture prefers clean endings. And there is a quiet courage in that honesty. Healing is not a performance, and it rarely follows a calendar. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do at midnight is to admit that you are still in the middle of it, and let that be real. Finally, there are the introverted observers. They are not antisocial, and they are not secretly angry at people having fun. Their nervous system is simply more sensitive to stimulation. Crowds, loud music, flashing lights, forced excitement, and the subtle pressure to act happy can overload them fast. So what looks like disengagement is often self-protection. They do not need a collective reset because they have been reflecting all year. Their growth tends to be quiet, incremental, and internal, like building roots instead of launching fireworks. For them, meaning comes from small rituals that actually fit. Finishing a book, cleaning their space, journaling a few honest lines, or going to bed early so tomorrow feels manageable. Culture tells them that a new year should begin with a bang, but they trust a different rhythm. They believe you can change your life without announcing it to a room. Their progress is not loud, but it is real. If you recognized yourself in more than one group, that is not a contradiction, it is human. You can be a quiet celebrator by temperament and a time-blurred survivor by circumstance. One year you are introverted and steady, the next year you are exhausted or grieving. The point is not to pick a label, but to notice what your normal is protecting. A gentle question to ask is, do I feel ordinary because I am grounded or because I am numb? Grounded feels calm and present. Numb feels flat and far away, not just tonight, but across many areas of life. If the numbness has been persistent, if you have lost interest in most things, if sleep is breaking down or hopelessness keeps returning, that is bigger than New Year and you deserve support from trusted people or a professional. But if you simply do not resonate with collective hype, you do not need fixing, you need permission. Society often demands joy on schedule, but people are not synchronized machines. Some end the year in quiet steadiness, others can barely stand upright. Sometimes the healthiest response to a moment labeled special is to treat it as ordinary, because meaning does not come from the calendar. It comes from the effort of living day by day. So here is the question to sit with. Do you need noise to feel alive, or can you trust silence enough to grow inside it?